You know that moment when you know it's time for your baby to go down to sleep, so you start bringing them over to the nursery, and as soon as you approach the room and they see their crib, they start freaking out and it is game over, and you think you're just gonna have to hold them for this nap because they're not gonna go sleep in that crib? We're gonna address that in this video, and I am going to help you get through the tunnel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel and I will help you get there, but you have to follow all 10 steps and take my advice seriously. Because I promise you, your baby will start liking the crib. You just have to give it a chance and you just have to follow these 10 steps. Step number 1 is gradual introduction. What you need to do is have playtime in your baby's room and in their crib to make it a warm, friendly, and inviting space for your child. So maybe you're folding laundry and putting some laundry away. Put your baby in the crib, put some toys in the crib with them. Even if they're only like 2 months old and they're just doing tummy time, still do this. If they're 6 or 7 months old and they're getting up on their hands and knees and rocking back and forth, still do this. It's a safe place for them to play and practice and get the stimulation that they need because you're putting toys and things around them, and you're still right there to have conversations with them and talk and sing together. You want to do this when it is not even close to sleep time. You're not even trying to have them sleep in the crib. You're just trying to get them acclimated to being in and around the crib. You can do this for 10 to 20 minutes a couple times a day for a couple days before you even try sleeping in the crib. Step number 2 is to make sure that your baby's crib is safe and comfortable. So every single baby mattress out there is going to meet the same standards in terms of safety. There are some that go above and beyond, and you can definitely get one of those, but as long as you have a safe mattress on a firm, flat surface, then they will be perfectly safe and comfortable. Make sure you have a fitted sheet on the mattress and no loose bedding. Step 3 is to make sure the rest of the sleep environment is optimized. So you want to make sure that you have white noise, blackout shades, and that the room is a comfortable temperature between 68 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Step 4 is to have consistent and predictable routines. Seriously, from day 1, when you bring your baby home, you can start a bedtime routine, and it can be as simple as changing their diaper, putting their pajamas on, putting them in their swaddle. If they're older, then they'll be in a sleep sack, and putting them to bed. It can be that basic of a routine, and then as they get older, you add on to it. But you definitely need to start with the minimum. Babies thrive off of consistency, and I promise you, if you have a consistent routine, then your child will automatically just know, hey, I'm getting in my sleep sack, I'm gonna associate this with sleep. And that is exactly my next step. Step number 5 is to use a sleep sack. Now, if your baby is older than 3 months old and or rolling, then you need to discontinue the use of swaddling. So this is when some parents say, well, I can't swaddle anymore, so I'm just going to put them to bed in their sleep outfit, whatever they're wearing as pajamas. But you should substitute a sleep sack for their swaddle. So you're getting rid of the swaddle, you want to start using a sleep sack, and you want to use it for every single sleep. So this is for naps and this is for overnight. But the point is that A, you know they're going to be warm, and B, they're going to have a sleep association with this sleep sack because this is the only time that they're wearing their sleep sack. So they're just going to know sleep sack equals sleep. And yes, they do know. And yes, they do learn from a very young age. By the time your child is 12 months old, they can understand everything you're telling them. They obviously just can't communicate everything back, but they understand. Stick with your consistency because anything other than that is just going to be confusing. Step number 7 is to make sure your child's schedule is developmentally appropriate. You need to make sure that their wake windows are an age-appropriate length of time in between sleep periods. So if you have a baby who is staying up for 3 hours in between naps, but their wake window says that they should only be up for 2 hours, by the time you get to that 3-hour mark and you're trying to put them down for a nap or for bedtime, they are already beyond overtired, and an overtired baby is producing cortisol. They're running on adrenaline and they can't self-soothe at that point. So making sure that your child's schedule is on point is going to make a huge, I cannot reiterate this enough, huge difference. Step number 7 is to introduce a security item. This can be anything from a pacifier to a stuffed animal, but I only recommend a stuffed animal once your baby is over 12 months old. Anything under 12 months old, there should be nothing in the crib. You can have a pacifier in there, but nothing like a loose object such as a stuffed animal or a blanket or anything like that. Once they're over that 12-month mark, then you can introduce something like that. So if you're going through this struggle and they're a little bit older, then go ahead and give them that kind of lovey. Chances are your child will have some sort of attachment to a certain item and you will see them forming that attachment. So you can always encourage them to sleep with that item if you're noticing that they are strongly attaching to something that they can sleep with. But again, only after that 12-month mark. Before that, I would only use a pacifier and only if your child can replace it, take it in and out of their mouth on their own. Step number 7 is to have a gradual transition to the crib. So some people like to start with naps in the crib. However, I don't recommend it. I actually recommend starting with half of the night in the crib. If your child is overly sensitive and they're waking several times a night, then you can start with bedtime. They're going to sleep in the crib and they sleep in the crib until about 2 a.m. and then you can maybe put them in a pack and play next to your bed if that's where they were sleeping before or wherever they were sleeping before, as long as it is a safe space. I will start these sensitive babies with half a night in the crib and then the other half where they were previously. And then after a couple nights of just half night, we move to full night. After a couple nights of that, then we'll start with 1 nap a day in the crib, 2 naps a day in the crib, and it'll keep snowballing until all of your child's sleep is in the crib. It doesn't have to be a rip the band-aid off kind of process. It can be slow and gradual, and that's fine. If it works for your baby and it works for your family, great, go with it. Step number 9 is to know your calming techniques and know what soothes your baby. I like to recommend the shush pat method when people are transitioning to the crib because it is very responsive, it is still hands-on, and your child is still falling asleep in the crib. When your baby is falling asleep in the crib, when they wake up through the night and go through their sleep cycles, they know where they fell asleep, so they know where they're waking up, and they're more likely to be able to self-soothe back to sleep in between those sleep cycles. Now, the thing with the shush pat method is that you want to make sure that you are only shushing and patting until they are calm and not fully asleep. If you're not familiar with the shush pat method, I have a whole video right here all about the shush pat method and exactly how to execute it step by step. So check out that video after you watch this one. The 10th thing that you need to do if you are struggling, you've done all of the other things, is to hire a professional. Hey, hi, I'm Missy. I'm a sleep consultant, and I will do a full comprehensive sleep assessment of your situation, of your child's temperament, their milestones, your parenting style, and your philosophy on sleep and sleep training. And I will make you a customized sleep plan, walk you through the sleep plan, and support you for 2 weeks throughout your sleep training journey. I can pinpoint exactly what your child's issue is because maybe you think it's the crib, but maybe it's something else. If you've done all of the other things that we have mentioned in this video and you're still not getting better sleep, then check out the link in the description box down below. Look at my sleep training packages. Hire a sleep consultant if you need that one-on-one help. Don't forget to watch the video all about the shush pat method after this, and keep blooming. Mwah.